So good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thank you to Business World and Dr. Anurag Batra and his wonderful team for having me here all the way from Nama, Bengaluru. So I would say, Yelaragu Namaskara. It's obviously a pleasure to welcome you all to this beautiful panel discussion, which is the future of FM Next Gen Leadership of Facility Management. Probably I'll just start off with a little small speech that I've written down. So bear with me for just about a minute, and I'm sure you will have a beautiful and insightful discussion with the wonderful men that I have today. I'm sorry the diversity is missing here, but here it is. So no matter what, I make up for about 10 odd women put together. Wo bhi kam hai waise number. We know that the facility management is no longer about just keeping this beautiful lights on and the AC, which is actually working very well. Someone can reduce the temperature or increase the temperature, whichever way it feels good, because I'm feeling very cold, that too in Delhi. We've come a long way, ladies and gentlemen. We've actually come a very, very long way from behind the scenes to the front line, probably the soldiers, the officers, the leaders in this particular function. It has evolved to us being the strategic business enablers. We know that we are the data strategists today. We are also the sustainability advocate. We just heard, sir, from the SMS, Integrated Facility Management. We are the tech adopters. We are the experienced designers as well. And of course, notwithstanding, we are the people leaders. Today, FM leaders are expected to do much more than maintain just buildings. We are shaping workspaces. We are supporting the hybrid work. Again, a wide range of soft services from housekeeping to administration to transport to real estate to hospitality to physical security and even the psychological safety. The game is changing fast with the rise of the smart buildings that you see, and that's the call of the day today. It's evolving. We're talking about AI. We are already talking about so much of digital tools. We want to only work with numbers. We only want to work with datas. Of course, the next generation of the FM leadership needs to be agile, has to be tech savvy, and very, very important, sustainability driven, but people first. So the big question, ladies and gentlemen, is what does it really take to lead the FM function into the future? And the next big question, how do we move from managing the facilities to create an impactful, sustainable, human-centered experiences? We have an incredible panel here, and these are the leaders at the forefront of this transformation. Please don't go on their hair color. These are the ones that have actually led the path. And for those, these are the ones who are going to make it much more greener for the future. With this, let's dive into the conversation. And my first question to Mr. Shailendra. Let's start from the start. What does the next gen, the future, the FM leadership mean to you?
So good afternoon and thank you so much for inviting me here. I guess it was less of a question, and Aditi has already spoken so much about it. Yeah, and she has stressed the right keywords in it, whatever we need to do in the future. I feel some of us, the younger ones to me, might be thinking that I am senior, and I have to think towards them that they are the next gen leaders. My seniors might be thinking I am the next gen leader. So there's a dynamic thing that keeps on moving. Okay. It's not that so many things have changed and documented as such, but that's a shift of mindset. A leader has always been a leader, right? From Shivaji Maharaj to so many more good leaders across the history. But a person who's able to guide his team, support his team, mentor them in a manner that you reach success, you are able to achieve the definitions of success at that particular point of time, is what we understand as leadership. As far as FM is concerned, I've been fortunate enough to work at the ground level, and I'm blessed to sit here with such esteemed panelists here. I feel with passage of time, we need to shift our mindset from maintenance to creating an experience. It was focused upon having all equipments in line, delivering upon those things, whereas what we are about to do now is, as Aditi pointed out, we have to be people-centric. Create an experience for
Sorry.
our stakeholders, right? All stakeholders, internal as well as external. The approach which was earlier that FM is a cost-centric thing, many esteemed people spoke about it, and I'm sure we all do agree to that. So from cost center, we need to create an environment where we are value drivers. We create a value for everyone, all stakeholder levels. From reactive to a proactive management. And here about proactive, I'd like to say, it's predictive. As it was told earlier, we have to be tech savvy. What was considered to be sharp and smart 2 years or 5 years or 3 years back is not so today. We need to be adaptive. We need to be agile. We need to guide our teams to move in the same manner. And I'm sure the leadership changes which are coming right now are perfectly aligned with that. One more critical word I like to point out here, which was again pointed out to you, is a strategic thinking. We need not only to deliver the services, the next level leadership has to do it keeping people in mind, be very tech savvy, and also derive and give a right value add to the companies, to the organizations that we work for. Because ultimately, everything boils down to money.
Thank you, Mr. Shailendra. So with that, Sanjay Saab, I'll come to this that, he just spoke about what needs to be there. I want to know what are the blind spots, when we talk about the future of the facility management. Where are we going from here to there and what is it that we're really missing it out?
Good. So, good afternoon, everyone. 40 years of experience and 10 years of gray hair. Doesn't take me to be the next gen. But yes, the moot question is next gen means the generation which is coming in or the generation which is currently there moving into the next gen? So it's a tricky question, but both of them lead to the same thing. I have people who are much younger to me, but are much more insightful than me. So blind sets, blind spots actually. I call them by mindset shifts which people should have is, I listed down actually. I will just rattle them off and probably some of you may catch some of them, some of you may not catch some of them, but happy to repeat if you want. We have to use premises and not occupy them. That's one of the biggest blind spots. Earlier, it used to be occupy the premises. Now it is use them, experience them. We have to do experience over cost. There is nothing which, even the cost which comes at a cost of experience is not a cost. So go to create experiences than to manage costs. Enable over being a support. Get in with the business, which is whom are you supporting. Seek to understand before you seek to be understood. And then enable them. Status quo over status quo. There is nothing called status quo. Status quo will fail. You have to go towards status quo. What is there going on? What is there to come in? What is the next thing which is coming in? Unless that blind spot is there, left out, you will never be there. What more and what better? It's not always, it's happening. Everything is going good. No. Every day it is what more, what better. It was called as a term called, yeah, I'll come back to it later. I'm missing that term. Use data to create insights over just prepare data. Just don't keep preparing data and pushing it. You have to use it to do that part. Create insights, analyze, suggest to management, suggest to the seniors, suggest to whoever it is, over just submit. Okay, invest in self over just do. Nike is gone, just do it. It doesn't matter. You have to invest in yourself, make yourself better, make yourself more intelligent, make yourself more experiential, go around, learn what is there to be learned. My objective is out. Organization objective comes in. Those are things. Begin with end in the mind. You start something and you plunge into the activities. No, every activities has to lead to a objective and to a end. That's what it is. Yeah, and for the generation which is sitting here now, which is probably moving in and has to move into the next generation, is to say, become a coach over a mentor. Just don't start teaching people on this is the way to do things. You will just catch their hand and take them to a situation or solution. Enable them so that they are able to create their own solutions. That's the next generation which is coming in. People who are now probably 10 years into moving into the leadership role or 5 years into the leadership role, always look forward to not just being told what to do. I remember my son, I quoted in one of the earlier points, this is, Dad, if you keep telling me why reinvent the wheel, who would use the magnetic leviathan? Somebody has to think beyond. And obviously, yes, it's an age-old saying, be the leader or a boss. Some of these blind spots which I was able to overcome, yeah, not to the full extent, but yes, these are blind spots which help us move to the next gen of delivering what we have to do. And yes, the next gen which is coming in to move to the next generation of FM.
Thank you, sir. I know I am between you and the lunch, but I'll have to request all the gentlemen here to very quickly answer my questions and keep it very, very short. You know, otherwise I'll start off the rapid fire. आप बोलो तो मैं भी start करती हूँ. All right, Amar Saab. So I'll come to you, and I know that you've been doing a lot in sustainability, but my question to you is going to be definitely on AI. We've heard FM.ai talk about it, but how does it influence your decision making in today's the facility management? So can you just throw some light? And Nirav, you're next in queue because I know you are again a sustainability expert. So I'm going to come back to you as well. So.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Major Aditi, and thank you, BW Business World, for inviting me here again. I was here last year as well. I can see some familiar faces, so great to be back again. So last year, the topic was completely on sustainability. So this time I opted for this discussion. It is a fashion to talk about AI, but I am a firm believer that human intelligence today is far, far superior than AI. We heard very insightful thoughts about AI from our keynote speaker, Mr. Tarun Ramrakhiani, just a few minutes back. He had prepared very beautiful slides, and he's covered most part of it. One of the slides that I would want to refer back to is data. What does AI work on? AI works on data. And as Mr. Tarun said, we have more data than we could have ever imagined. And that is the key. So just put sensors everywhere. Put sensors in the workplaces, put sensors in the parking, put sensors for HVAC, put sensors for lighting. I mean, I'm not saying that it is something new. We already have it. But collect as much data as makes sense and collect that in a very structured manner. As again, I'm quoting what Mr. Tarun said a few minutes back. And that is going to be our basis for feeding this all into our artificial intelligence. Again, Gen AI, that is the buzzword. And agentic AI is the latest thing. Agentic AI, for people who may not be very familiar with this terminology, is some application that you built on top of AI to give the desired results. So agentic AI is what we are using. And once we have all this data, agentic AI helps us to firstly make the systems more efficient. Predictability increases. Today, Mr. Arjun spoke about flexible workplaces, right? That is the latest thing. A lot of companies after COVID in particular do not want to own facilities, which means most people are renting facilities, and the load on that, what I mean by load is the number of people coming in on a specific day can be variable, and everything has to be tailored to that. Your temperature has to be tailored to that. Other facilities that are used, someone spoke about. Very interesting example. I don't remember who spoke about it, but the usage of the washrooms, that was monitored, and that is being monitored, and the maintenance is predicted based on that. So similarly, how much space is occupied in these new workplaces that we have, and more importantly, how many people will come to office tomorrow. The Good Friday is a holiday, not for everyone. So some people might just take Thursday off. Just taking example of this week, and Vaisakhi was just a couple of days back. So probably these holidays like this impact just in a normal week, because a lot of companies still have flexible working days, not all 5 days in the week. We see lower number of people on Monday, goes up a bit on Tuesday, Wednesday is the highest, again tapers down on Thursday and Friday. So all this, once you have your attendance data, once you have related data, all the AI will predict how many people are going to come in, how much power usage we will need, what we need to do about our air quality, optimization of parking spaces, and canteen for that matter. How much food should the canteen caterer prepare every day? I mean, your peak load may be. I work in an office which has a capacity of 25,000, but on a Friday we could have less than 10,000 people. So all this predictability, I think we have this very good tools into what we call artificial intelligence, and what we put agentic AI on top of that, but apply human intelligence on top of it, and I think we are making our systems very, very efficient, and that will also help maintenance in terms of proactive maintenance of our major systems rather than reactive maintenance. I mean, we are already there. I'm not saying that this is something that's coming up. People are midway there. People are thinking towards going there. And whoever is not yet talking about it will have to do it because of the SDGs, right? The sustainability goals. And the targets that was also spoken about in a previous session. The targets for green targets that we are net zero that we are talking about across the globe, and now very particularly what our Prime Minister has also set for ourselves. I'm very proud to say that of all the owned facilities, we have 480,000 people working in our India facilities, and out of the owned facilities, 78% are today certified as LEED or IGBC green facilities. And in terms of net zero, our target is 2030, and we are already crossed 70% in March of this year. So I think we are well positioned to meet net zero by 2030. So I'm just giving the example of my organization because I work closely there, but I know a lot of other organizations which have also, and we heard representatives talking in the previous sessions as well, that everyone is moving towards the sustainability goals.
Thank you, Mr. Amar. So, Dr. Nirav, I will ask you to please take on from there, because he just spoke about net zero. I really want to know that now that we all have our sustainability targets as FM leaders, do you really think this net zero is, achievable? I mean, is it really a realistic goal? Because I kind of fathom, and I don't really understand that, we're just a couple of years from what we felt, we thought, we've kind of made a path, 2030, but is this really realistic? And I'm going to follow up a question again over this particular thing with you, so hand on to the mic.
Thank you very much, Aditi, and apologies to the audience and the panelists, because when I just got to learn that I am sitting in the next panel, that it felt 20 years back when I prepared for the physics exam and opened up the paper, it was chemistry. So, but if you are agile enough, then you will be able to contribute even irrespective of the topic and the theme of the conference. For those I have not had the pleasure of meeting, myself, Dr. Nirav Mandir, I lead the human capital and the sustainability function globally for a company called Shree Ramkrishna Export SRK, which is world's largest diamond manufacturing and export company. And as you touch upon the net zero part, let me apprise the group in the interest of the conversation that we become net zero last year, 2024. And it became India's first entity, unlisted entity, to attain the net zero mark. We were also the first James Jewelry sector company to attain the SBTI head last year.
Okay, guys,
So when
that
we are
means
talking
it's
about the
pause
net
because
zero,
he's
it is
already there.
purely possible because some people might think that net zero is something about greenwashing. It's all about like people are claiming, but rather than not executing enough in their manner, and that's not the mark. Both manufacturing facilities of the SRK, which is centralized manufacturing, and Mr. Shetye touched about the lead and the IGBC and the other thing. They are not only green buildings, but if you see the website of USGBC and they display the top 6 green buildings of the world, since more than 4 years, both facilities have attained the mark of top 6 buildings of the world. And that is something which the leadership is committed for. So when we are talking about sustainability, when we are talking about ESG, and it starts with the facility, we are operating in the facility. So what we fondly follow at SRK, we simply say the quadruple bottom line, where we are not only committed about our people, but we are also concerned about the profit. Because until you don't earn the profit, you won't be able to take care about your people. And the third thing, which is again important, is the planet part. Again, it's linked to the profit. If the company is not doing good, neither they will be able to contribute for their people or their planet. And ultimately, with the 4P lies, is the purpose, what exactly you are doing business for. And that is something we are not only committed about the 4 Ps, but we are also considering 3 Cs at the same time. That we are concerned about the country, we are concerned about the climate, and we are also concerned about the community at large. So I think that is something which the dilemma lies in the majority of the sustainability professionals, the FM professionals, the practitioners, that it's a non-realistic target. But that's not the case, because we did it. And interestingly, just to share the math, because somebody talked about the details on the compliance of being done by especially the 1,000 listed companies, which has to do the BRSR audits, and they have to submit the reporting GRI, G4 and whatnot. But you'll be amazed to know that there are 1.5 million registered companies as per the Companies Act in India. Out of those 1.5 million companies, not more than 8,000 companies are listed companies. And out of those 8,000 companies, the compliance is only regulated top 1,000 as of now. So now imagine where 95% of the company belongs to the MSME sector and the unlisted companies. So till the time all the unlisted companies are not putting their footprint into the sustainability and the net zero mark, I don't think we'll be able to meet the 2070 target. And that is something which even the government has to think, that how to support, how to spread the awareness across the leadership of the MSME sector, where they can also contribute equally. Without them, we will not be able to hit the mark. The second point I would like to make it over here, that interesting study done by the Fortune 500 companies. They published their first list in 1955, and the last list got published in 2024. Out of the total Fortune 500 companies, more than 10,000 companies went into the list and then came out from that list. Interestingly, you'll be surprised to know that only 76 companies were there, which was there in 1955, and they are still there in 2024. They did the interesting study on that what was that unique proposition which made them sustain into the list of the Fortune 500 companies. And you'll be glad to know that one of the core and critical aspect of that was, for those companies where the leadership was quite committed to their compliance, their ESG, their sustainability motto, only those companies could able to sustain and also project their sustainability agenda, driving forward into the global path and meeting the global. So I think that is something which is, I wanted to talk on that, and then I'll share.
Thank you. I'll probably pass on to Ajit. Commander Ajit. Let me say this with a lot of regard and dignity.
No problem.
FM used to be back of the house. Hamesha, we're never in front. We are the invisible people. But right now, when it comes to employee experiences, we are the frontline ones, right? So how do you want the leaders to evolve to this ever-changing scenario? Because the expectation is not from even their end, but our end. We want to be sitting at the board. We want to be seen around. We are here, standing in front of everybody. We are live. There's a lot of expectation. So talk to us about it.
Very true. I mean, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here. Please bear with my bad throat today.
No. Your host, your voice, the host voice is very good. Guys, it's good for the mic.
Thanks. Right, so we are talking about future of FM and the FM leaders in the next gen. As we all have been discussing here, today we can't live without technology. Today is the day when we have to adopt sustainability as our priority. And we have to be people-centric. So this is the ask, this is the time when we need to focus upon these three aspects when we talk about future leaderships. Talking about facility management, we have to evolve it all around the people choice. We need to give the comfort to the employees whenever they walk into the workspaces. So, knitting all of these three factors together, the first thing is that how are we going to achieve it? So one thing is that when we are designing our workspaces, we have to design in a way so that the employee feel comfortable when we talk about their safety, employee health and safety, and the psychological security, which somebody mentioned here. So while designing these good office spaces, workspaces, comfortable for the employees, how can we achieve it? So there comes the technology piece, again to integrate into our approach, how we have to design and then operate these office spaces. Designing is also caters to 50% of your problem statement when you design the office spaces successfully. And then successfully running the operations. So gone are the days when we were recording everything on paper, doing everything manually. There is soft services, there is hard technical services, and everything you're recording on paper and also. So now it is a time of improving your productivity, enhancing your efficiencies, so that the FM human interaction can go more into the strategic role rather than only the managing the operations part. Adopting of AI, IoT in various of your office operations is very much essential today. When people are talking about managing 25,000 people in a campus, how are you going to facilitate them? Whether you are able to cater each and every one of them together, if they are not stepping in on a regular basis, how are our workplaces going to be more efficient? So there are ways and means to adopt the technology to cater to such requirements. Hot desking and various such things which we all are aware of. How to run our facilities efficiently is usage of your AI and the IoTs in your HVAC systems. Talking about sensors, we had a presentation very recently on the AI, and he talked everything about how we can adopt to the FM AI into FM, and what are the benefits of it. So this is something which we can't live without. And tomorrow, when we talk about sustainability, it is something to do with your mindset, change of your mindset. Today in India, what I feel, there is a mandate which has come for all the listed companies to file their BRSR report. That's the Business Responsibility and Sustainable Responsibility reports. So that's something wherein the listed companies are trying to put in their efforts to, first evaluate whether, what exactly is required to be sustainable, assessing their data. First, we talked about collation of the data. We don't have the data in place. So again, the technology is, when you adopt to the technology, then you can gather your data and you can analyze and then make decisions based on those data. So that's something, I feel that today and tomorrow, it's a day when we have to adopt to the technology, where we talk about AI, IoT, we need to be more people-centric and obviously put sustainability into focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajit. I'm going to move away from technology, sustainability, AI, and IoT for a minute. Right? Shailendra, over to you. We do have our service partners here. I want to understand, as the future of FM, the topic that we are here today to speak on for the next generation facility management leadership, where do they come into picture? And when we're talking about improving our quality, our services, How do you look at that collaboration? What can be done better? How do you balance that?
So, Aditi, before getting to that, I have a small point to make here. Uh, as Ajit pointed out, and his question was very relevant, there's a small point I'd like to make here regarding that. One thing that has changed drastically in past some time, as you told, we are the backbenchers, back of the stage
Behind
working
the-
guys,
behind
right
the
behind the
scenes.
stage. But now, one thing that I've seriously noticed is change in the amount of respect and the recognition that the FM team is getting, which was missing earlier, right? So now it is not that boss light nahi aa rahi hai, banda bulane ka. No, it's not that. It's not only that much. Nowadays, there's a position which has come to a level wherein all of us, at least the leaders from FM side, are having a much more collaborative approach, and we are accepted at a much wider and a respected level. That's what I feel. I wanted to make that point here. Now coming back to your question about the role what our partners play in how we deliver our service delivery we are able to do, and what we can do, or probably what changes are expected in the future, right? First and foremost, whenever we come to the term of partners is payment, right? This might sound harsh, but let's be very, very blunt and honest about it. In 99.99% of cases, if I have very set, clear priorities, my expectations are clear with my service partners, if I'm able to make the payments in time, I'm very, very sure I'll get an equal and positive response from
I
them.
want you to pause for a minute. Please raise your hands, those who agree with him. That says it all. All right, please.
Still, I feel certain hands are not there which don't agree to it. That's okay. Just a difference of opinions, but I feel that's the most important point. Now, let's assume a scenario where we're able to make payments in time, which is a tough scenario to achieve. Other than that, the question or the equation has changed. It's not the time when I ask my service partner, do this, and it's done. And if not done, I just say, boss, why it has not been done? No. This is a time when we need to work in a collaborative manner, right? Maybe we can have the way we have collaborative work solutions, spreadsheets. This can be something where we sit together, we work together within definitive timelines. I involve my partners. I involve them in decision making. I take support of them. I have to agree to the fact that I might be one guy who's representing my company for taking support from my partners, but he has that specific subject core knowledge, and I must respect that. So if we work together, I'm sure we can work really fast and really forward. These were the two most important things. But yes, certain conventional aspects are also very, very important. You ought to have clear-cut requirements. You ought to have clear-cut timelines, and we need to keep a close alignment at the leadership level.
Yeah.
So, in case you must have noticed sometimes, people at manager or assistant manager level don't tend to go very close, very nicely with our service partners. It happens multiple times. But I feel if we collaborate at the leadership level, things will be far better and far different. That's all I have to say about that.
I wanted
Yes,
to add
please.
something here. Service providers or partners, as we call them, why do we take them? Because they have the expertise, and what they do is not our core competency. So first part is service partners are the most respected because they are adding into our competencies. That's what. Once we start respecting that part to the service partners, that's
Completely.
what the value add comes from them.
Completely
And the
agree.
minute you tell them that, yes, you are valued for this, whenever you provide this, you will add to this, this is what you'll contribute, this is what will lead to, that makes all the difference. Payments definitely are there, but yes, if I have budgeted for a payment to a service partner, there is no way there it has to be delayed. It has to be because those are payments down right to the bottom of the pyramid which is there, and if those payments are delayed, I will not feel the pinch. The guy down the line, he'll feel more pinch. So I agree with you about the payments part.
So
but
I
this
think
was
it's a
more-
marriage. For me, it's basically we are the engines, you're the fuels. So you don't give me the fuel, I don't run. So it works like that. It works in sync, and I so very much agree to the mindset of these gentlemen. I still see people calling service partners as vendors. How many of you call service partners as vendors? Now raise your hands and be honest. Yeah. So, and thank you. You actually were very honest. That's very nice of you. It's time that we kind of, as he said, you're the brain and we're just the body. So we represent you, but you're the one who making us move our body parts. So thank you to all of you all for that. I'm going to move from another question to something which is very important to all of us today in the scenario that we've already moved from and which is post-pandemic. Very pertinent. Now, I also manage security. So beyond physical security, Sanjay Saab, over to you and also to Ms. Dr. Nirav. How can the facility management support psychological safety, especially the sensitive environment that we are all in today?
So the question first comes in, what is psychological safety? Physical safety, everybody understands. Fire safety, earthquake safety, this, that, everything is documented. What is psychological safety? How does it impact somebody or why it is important? So just to touch upon a little on this thing is, we've been experimenting at our firm. It's what is called as psychological safety as a KPI to be measured for the senior management. Now, that means that within the team which is sitting there, we will come back to the whole environment, but I'm saying starting from within the team which is there. So every senior has a team which is probably 20, and beyond that there are 20. Do they have the courage and the ability to come up and speak without being judged? Without being judged. And judgment is not about just what you're saying is right or wrong. Judgment is about gender. Judgment is about special ability. Judgment is about how I appear. Judgment is about what is my demographic, what is the language I speak. So that psychological safety is the most important thing. And we as facility managers, we have to migrate from the point, because the first time somebody walks into a physical facility is, what do they experience? They don't experience the CEO's vibes. They don't experience the MD. They do, who they first see? They first see the security guard who's standing on the gate. They first see the front office receptionist or the little housekeeper who's been standing around, or the person who's serving tea. Now, all these people, whether it is to respect the most senior person or to the most junior person, that's where the psychological safety comes. If the security guard welcomes you with a smile, the person feels that part. Little things, so I'm moving from saying psychological safety for first the people who are coming into the organizations. But what you pertinently said about large organizations, large places, hospitals, malls, how do I feel psychological safe there? I will feel physical safe, then only I will feel psychological safe. So FM has got a very important part in transitioning this physical safety into psychological safety. Though it is a practice that has to be done by people who are there, up seniors, and it's a value system that goes around in the firm, or the culture change which goes around. But the implementers, the first implementers of the psychological safeties are people who are first down the line, who are being the first responders to anything. I'm saying even if there is somebody in the office, if I know there is an ERT in the office, there's emergency response team in the office, I will feel psychological safe to be there. If I have a low blood pressure syndrome, there is somebody to take care of me. That's where it makes a difference. Having the safe water delivered to people creates a lot of psychological safety. I don't have to worry about what's there going in. Whether it is anything out there, it is. These are minor things. These are little truffles, and I said truffles lead to perfection, but perfection is never a truffle. So small things make a lot of difference, and these are the things which add to the psychological safety from the FM perspective.
Thank you, Sanjay Saab. Dr. Nirav, your views.
Just as a rejoinder to the fellow panelist spoke about, so the moment we talk about psychological safety, it got me remember the theory given by one of the famous psychologists called Herzberg. It's a two-factor theory. And one factor talks about the hygiene factor, and the other factor is the motivational factor. So gone are the days the psychological safety has become a motivational factor anymore. It is the hygiene factor now. Because the moment you start to attract the talent within the organization. Facility, of course, we may be able to make the most lavish, most luxurious, more greener factories or the greener premises. But what if we don't have any human being into that facility, walking in or just staying by? So I think this is something which is very hygiene, and it is also giving that level of comfort to the employees per se, if you are working in factory. Of course, if you are a factory, running a factory, you are having the requirement for the Factories Act, you have to follow the occupational health and safety rules and regulation. But over and above what you are contributing to this, the legislative requirement, that is something which is very proactive in nature, and that is also not also part of the talent strategy or the attracting the talent, but also about retaining the right talent within the premise. I would just, you touch upon the pandemic era. I still remember that we started our factory operations in June 20, immediately after the lockdown, and August we were running full time. In a single building, 150,000 square feet, we are having 4,000 employees. Imagine a situation, 4,000 employees are working day in and day out, and they don't have to worry about the positivity rate of COVID, because they were aware that the positivity rate of the COVID being positive, well, almost less than 15% in comparison of the other manufacturing facility. That is something you can't have to just do the lip service, but you have to execute in person, where your employees feel like pampered. They are also feeling that the company is providing that culture of care, and then they are thinking, and the company is thoughtful about it. So it's also helping the organization to do their employer branding, and ultimately like putting the unique footprint and a benchmark in your own sector, in your own company. And someone rightly mentioned, it's not only about treating your internal stakeholder, but also to talk about and creating that buy-in from your external talk. So it's like, I keep on saying, it's all about the sustainability in the supply chain by considering also the bottom and the top line of the supply chain. That is my take.
So I'm going to support this official conversation to a personal, I think some of you would have gone through my LinkedIn article that would happen a couple of days back. I'm a security person, I'm an FM person, and it was about the psychological safety of my child. I'm not going to get into details at all, but as a security personnel, if I was not able to stand up for the psychological safety of what my child went through, I think I failed as an FM leader. And that is exactly what we need today when we're talking about, as leaders of the front line, as the new generation. I think that also should hold ground and hold good for campuses that we just spoke about. So I'm not going to get into these details that are very personal. You can go and read the article if you'd like, or probably talk to me offline. But coming back to Ajit, and also this question I'll pass on to Amar Saab as well. What is your leadership success, when we're talking about today and we're talking about versus 5 years ago? So Ajit, your views.
I think the one thing which I left behind was storytelling. We do a lot of good work, but we don't narrate it well. I think everybody in this room would agree with that.
No, I narrate it very well. I'm a very good storyteller.
Yeah, so
I make sure that I'm visible, and I think that's exactly what we are saying today. So thank you for bringing this out,
Yes.
because it's important. I barely see, I'm sorry, but I barely see our FM leaders. When I say FM, I think I'm talking about the entire gamut of the umbrella, the entire umbrella. I barely see our facility management leaders talking and sharing whatever they are going through what they've done, because only in the forums we are trying to do the best sharing practices. I love reading articles on LinkedIn. I love, but all of us cannot be here at the same time in forums. It's very difficult for us to travel miles away to hear you out. So please write your stories. So thank you, Ajit. Yes, please
absolutely.
go ahead.
So this is something, I mean, unless and until you narrate your own stories, you can't make an impact. You can't have a seat on the table. Unless you have a seat on the table, you can't make your point through. And today, we are not only operational executors, we are the strategists.
Yeah.
And we have to have a seat on the table, and unless we narrate ourselves, we do the comparison, we put forward our the comparisons, the ROIs versus the investments, what we do in our infrastructure. So that's something which I think we have taken leap. Now we have a seat on the table, and we are making a difference in the organization.
Thank you. Amar sir, your views. I'll come to you, Sanjay sir, because, so, okay, no offense meant, huh? He's the most experienced person in the group, okay? I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Thank you. In the interest of time, I'll just reiterate one comment that Major Aditi made, and that is the sharing of knowledge. What is the best thing to do? How is the best thing to do that today? Social media. And LinkedIn and even Facebook or whatever other media we use, I think particularly in this context, obviously LinkedIn is our best source to share what are our experiences and knowledge sharing for sustainability, for best practices and everything else that we do. I think that is the best forum to be heard today.
Thank you, Amar sir. And Sanjay sir, just 2 lines, because then I have a rapid fire for you. Go.
Sure. So for me, success doesn't change what it was 5 years ago to what it is today. Nothing succeeds like success. Only the parameters you have to define, and that definition has to come from what you understand from your deliverables. Pure and simple, please understand what has to be delivered, deliver it to the best using, I was probably overwhelmed by the presentation by Tarun, which talked about what is it that needs to be done. So he said everything in that, where were you and where you have to go. So you were there 5 years ago. You don't have to be there 5 years or today. That's the change. The success parameter will remain same, whatever it is. Nothing succeeds like success. Success has to be defined at what the success difference is. That's it.
2 words, Dr. Nirav, and last 2 words, Shailendra.
I would just say
Don't play the buzzer now. Just give me 2 minutes.
I would just say that whatever just my fellow panelists have contributed, because when we talk about creating our own storytelling, it is not always about, I would just say that the test, what we are making in our respective organization, it's not the benchmark to make a progress. If until and unless we are linking that benchmark to the most needy people at the bottommost of the pyramid and try to reach up to that level, that is something which...
Thank you. Very good points.
So going quickly over it, I'm sure we all have multiple stories, right? But probably connecting your stories with the right people, with the right content, and at every possible opportunity is the key to it. How well do we connect to the people? Especially in our field, it's all experience sharing with our teams. So what we learn, we need to pass on to our teams. And there are multiple times, like my current organization, the average age of people working there is around 27 years. So very young people, we have a lot of stories to hear also from them. They are very creative.
True.
Let's share it. Let's move forward.
Thank you. So Ajit, what you started has ended now. So great. I'm going to go back to...
Just one second.
Okay, time's up.
No stories about success. Share stories about failures also.
Yeah.
They're very important.
Very, very important.
The more you share stories about failure, the more people learn from that part.
So let's test them, ladies and gentlemen. They've been talking for the last 30, 40 minutes. All right, rapid fire for you. Whoever picks the mic first gets it. One technology FM leaders must master in the next 3 years.
BMS.
Okay. One leadership trait that will become non-negotiable.
Seek to understand before you seek to be understood.
Okay, that's wonderful. One FM myth, and those who have spoken cannot speak again. One FM myth you'd like to bust once and for all.
Failures lead to success.
I'm going to very candidly say one thing, which I always tell people, but I have a lot of pride and also in that. But one myth, हम सिर्फ झाड़ू पोछे वाले लोग नहीं हैं. But yeah, please, anybody wants to break one FM myth?
Backbenchers to frontliners.
Yeah, okay. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I've come to a closure. I had a wonderful discussion with these handsome young men out here. Thank you very much for this powerful discussion. Few key takeaways which have emerged today. Technology is a tool and it's not a goal. So let's remember that. Sustainability is now a leadership KPI. It is just not a compliance issue. And of course, the FM talent game is changing, and of course, our approach needs to change as well. We are strategists, let's start believing, and we need to be human-centric. Thank you, my fellow panelists, thank you very much. And with this, the lunch is open. I can't say the bar is open, but the lunch is open, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry I cannot be even a good partner because I'm just not a drinker at all. So let's keep the conversation going. We spoke of storytelling, so let's do that. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.